Good morning. Good morning. Today is Monday, September 18th, a little bit behind this morning. I had some calls that took a little bit longer to finish up. So it was not a computer error this morning. It was really just a busy morning that I've had. So definitely it's a Monday. So I hope everybody's having a great Monday. Regards to up and out, and hope they had a great weekend. One of the things that I want to talk about is the Paramount. If you are aware, the Paramount is just launched their show. They had opening night was September 8th. The show had been going for about a week. They do a soft opening, then they do a big opening night event. And so what are they playing? So they're playing Little Shop of Horrors. And I have to say, I think this is one of the top ones of the Paramount shows. Really a great performance overall by the actors, by the props thing, I think went really well. And it was a very enjoyable show. So today, the mug of the day, I did buy a mug. The mug of the day is from the Paramount. So here is my Paramount mug. I will bring it up to show. So the Paramount mug, and Little Shop of Horrors. So I have they sell the Little Shop of Horror mugs there. So I definitely, of course, had to get one. And I just have to say again, the show is really well worth seeing, even if you're not into musicals. The acting was fun. It's a really, really fun production, and they did a really great job. So to highlight that with regards to, if you want something to do and you haven't seen the show yet, just giving a little support there for Little Shop of Horrors. Now, on Friday, September 15th, was National POW MIA Recognition Day. It was also the beginning of Rosh Hashanah. So to all my Jewish friends, I give you blessings and goodwill over the weekend that you had. POW MIA Day. So if you notice and you run into me, I still wear a POW MIA bracelet. I got it 30 years ago when I was stationed in California at Camp Pendleton. And that was an individual named Lewandowski. Bracelet has since cracked. Believe it or not, they do crack, and they are very fragile. And so this time around, I have a different POW MIA bracelet. So if you see me, I always wear it. I don't see anybody really wearing it so much nowadays, mostly because POW MIA was mostly during like World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. However, Iraqi and the current wars, due to technology, we don't have any recent POW MIAs, but it's always important, so very important to remember those are lost. They're still lost. We're still recovering individuals, still recovering remains of our heroes that didn't make it home. And so we're hoping to return everybody home. Here, that's the right thing to do. We just recently had the remains of a World War II soldier killed during obviously World War II. And his name was Willard Kendall. And they just interned his remains. So I think it's always important to remember our POWs and our MIAs. So Willard Kendall, it was a soldier killed during World War II. And I paused a little bit there because it's a really important thing to recognize. His remains were interned just recently, September 16th, at Forest Home Cemetery in Forest Park, Illinois. So he was a native of Chicago, he was a tail gunner, and a tail gunner, if those of you know Roy Moore, he was a tail gunner. He's still around today, and he tells stories about folding into the tail gunner area, the cockpit where they were at, the tail gunner, and he was assigned to the 32nd Bombardment Squadron, 301st Bombardment Group, 5th. He was serving aboard 17G Flying Fortress on February 25th, 1944, when it was hit with enemy anti-aircraft fire after a bombing raid on the Prufening aircraft factory in Germany. 8 of the 9 crew members bailed safely before the plane exploded and crashed northwest of Kreckdorf, Austria. Multiple crewmen reported that Kendall died at his tail gunner position when the plane crashed. He was 23 years old. So what the U.S. and a lot of individuals, a lot of countries do is always stay in contact. And so records and eyewitness statements in September 2017, the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency felt there was sufficient evidence to link the remains designated as unknown X-6853 and buried in Rhone American Cemetery in Regden, France, to Kendall. 2 years later, the remains were disinterred and sent to the DPAA laboratory for analysis. So he was accounted for by the DPAA April 13, 2023, after his remains were identified using anthropological and mitochondrial DNA analysis. His name is recorded on the tablets of the missing at Florence American Cemetery in Firenze, along with others still missing World War II. A rosette will be placed next to his name to indicate that he had been accounted for. So still to this day, we are returning home the heroes that died, that are still missing in action, that are POW. And this is just one example of how we should never forget the loved ones of and the heroes that died, that gave their lives, that are missing in action, that were prisoners of war, and to make sure that they come home. So POW MIA Recognition Day, that was to be the 3rd Friday of every September. It's not associated with any war or anything to that effect. So in 1979, Congress and the president passed resolutions making it official after the families of more than 2,500 Vietnam War POW MIAs pushed for full accountability. So that's definitely, citizen activism right there. And it's the right thing to do. During the very first POW MIA Recognition Day commemoration, a ceremony was held at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C., where the 1st Tactical Squadron from Langley Air Force Base in Virginia flew the Missing Man formation. Most ceremonies since then have been held at the Pentagon, and then smaller observances, such as the one in Aurora on Friday, across the nation. So, American POW numbers, and then this is why we still need to be diligent and still need to remember. So the numbers, American POW numbers, there were 130,201 World War II service members who were imprisoned. 14,072 of them died. There were 7,140 Korean War service members were imprisoned. 2,701 of them died. 725 Vietnam War service members were imprisoned. 64 of them died. 37 service members were imprisoned during the conflict since 1991, both Gulf Wars. None of them are still in captivity today. Numbers of MIA, the individuals who are missing in action, 83,114 Americans who fought in the wars are still missing. And this includes 73,515 from World War II. That's an approximate number. 7,841 from the Korean War are still missing and not accounted for. 1,626 from Vietnam, 126 from the Cold War, and 6 from the conflict since 1991. Now, DPAA, as I mentioned earlier, said that about 75% of those missing Americans are somewhere in the Asian Pacific. More than 41,000 have been presumed lost at sea. So we're constantly looking to identify those individuals and bring them home. DPAA said that in the past year, it has accounted for 41 individuals missing during the Korean War. 10 had been previously buried as unknowns. 26 were remains turned over by North Korea in the 1990s. 1 was from a recovery operation, and 4 were a combination of remains and recovery operations. So just to give you a little bit of thought with regards to that, we have the traditional POW MIA flag. It's well known across America, and definitely it was created many years before the Remembrance Day became official. And then every POW Recognition Day since 1982, the flag is flown just below the Stars and Stripes at the White House, the only other flag ever to do so. So in 1998, Congress ordered it to be displayed on the Armed Forces Day, Memorial Day, Flag Day, Independence Day, and Veterans Day as well. As you know, that we in Illinois passed a law to recognize the POW MIA flag and to have them flown on state and airports. There was a bit of a controversy over that. If you might recall, a couple of years ago, some individuals felt that the POW MIA flag was not appropriate to fly, and then we had to pass a law, and it is to be displayed. And then, of course, we talk about the bracelets, the POW MIA bracelets, of which I've had for 30 years. And the POW MIA bracelets still remind us to never forget. They're still worn. You can still purchase them. I've seen them at some car shows. Some American Legions have them, and it's definitely something that I think, although a lot of individuals, especially younger than I, don't quite remember the POW MIA bracelets like they used to be. They used to be really everywhere. That still important to wear. So currently I wear Staff Sergeant John Keiper, Keiper. He was in the United States Marine Corps. He was reported missing November 15th, 1966 in South Vietnam. So definitely we need to make sure that we keep all the veterans that came home, in mind and appreciate their services. But we also need to remember, especially on September 15th, POW MIA Remembrance Day. So good morning, Bonnie. Thank you for joining us this morning. It's great to see you. So that's just a little bit of history with regards. Personally, I think important days in our history. So today is being looked at as a historic day. Today, Illinois becomes the first state to eliminate cash bail in Illinois. So individuals that could not bail out had to wait for months to await trial if they didn't have the money to be able to bail. And individuals that created the same crime who could bail out could be out of jail awaiting trial. So the law was signed and goes into effect today. What does it mean? It means you're not going to see any, most likely not see anything immediately noticeable. What it does is it shifts the burden to judges to determine. They must determine whether defendants should be denied for trial based on the risk of their release poses to the community and whether they will return to court. So this is, of course, a big change, and it's been reviewed upon by the Supreme Court and looked at with regards to changing this process. So again, what does this mean? It does not mean that the doors are going to be open and a bunch of people are going to run out. What it means is that there's a petition process, and individuals who are being held on bail can petition the judge to look at their case and to see if they are a threat to society, if there are extenuating circumstances which they need to stay in pretrial confinement. So that is exactly what the law determines. So it doesn't necessarily mean that that individuals are going to be let go. There's a review process, and it needs to be, and it started, and the prosecution and the whole judicial system is involved. What I've seen, some things online are misnomers, individuals who are violent, individuals who engage in domestic abuse, individuals that have extenuating circumstances, why they should stay in pretrial confinement. So definitely, and again, it's up to the judges. They will get petitions of individuals that are currently in pretrial confinement to evaluate the cases based on the merits of the case, not on the ability of somebody to be able to just pay their way out. And that's the system we've had today. So that is what is today. That's probably going to be the biggest highlight with regards to today going on in the state of Illinois. One of the things in the state of Illinois we're also looking at is UAW strike. So right now, looking at the auto industry, we have Ford's Chicago assembly plant on the city's southeast side. And then there's one in Belvidere near Rockford, and we're also trying to restart a closed Stelius cheap plant. Of course, that's in negotiations, but we're certainly looking at the auto industry and the UAW strike as individuals and as workers have representation and should be negotiated in my opinion, in good faith. So hopefully they can work out a contract and things will be able to resolve itself. So that's one of the things that we are looking at with regards to Illinois. Another thing that's come across my desk is the Secretary of State rolled out an appointment-only system. So they are looking at appointments only. To some frustration. So this has been coming across my desk. I've gotten some emails with regards to frustration because you just can't get an appointment now. So individuals are trying to get an appointment and they can't get appointments near their house. One article talked about having to drive, over an hour to get an appointment for their driver's license because their area DMV did not have any appointments. It's almost ridiculous. It's been very frustrating. I've had a mother of a student say that they can't out of school because getting their driver's license is not a applicable excused absence. It would be an unexcused absence. So there's a lot of problems that they changed in the walk-in system at most DMVs for driver-related services, such as tests and license renewals. Those things require appointments. Now, it was hoped that the changes would help eliminate wait times at offices and get customers through faster. And it has cut wait time significantly if you can get an appointment. That seems to be the biggest issue. The problem is that where there are appointments on affecting your area. So I've been in contact with the Secretary of State. They've been saying that they're making adjustments. They're trying to improve it. They also have 2 mobile units that go along the area. If you know, a couple months ago, we had a mobile unit at the Fox Valley Mall where folks were able to go and just walk in with regards to that. And so I think that it's an idea, and if folks are unable to find their a slot, they just talk about checking the website regularly, and it's a new program, so it's I want to remind people that you can renew your driver's license and some other features online, and definitely that's something to look into as well. And there's also a 844 number you can call. However, you're on hold a long time. The recording said to leave a name and phone number, and they would call back, and nobody returned a call. It's a new system, so I asked just to have patience and hope they can work this stuff out. But definitely, they are talking about blocking out specific times for seniors. There's a number they can call for older drivers that license and their tests on the elderly drivers need to take tests more frequently. So it's been a frustration, and that's come across my desk. I can only say again to give it some time. I have, like I said, reached out to the Secretary of State's office, and they are trying to improve the system so that everybody can be properly served. So that's another thing that came out across the my desk. One of the fun things that I did read about is that First Lady gave a detailed tour for Homeworthy of the governor's remodeled mansion in Springfield, complete with stories about artwork and the like. So if you are not familiar with Homeworthy, they have a YouTube channel, and it is on YouTube, and I can certainly post that for you. So definitely check it out. The governor's mansion was remodeled several years ago. They have pieces of art in there, and they have the videos on Homeworthy on YouTube, so you can certainly check that out. It's a fun little video to watch if you're not able to get to Springfield to check out the governor's mansion. One fun fact is that the governor's mansion is the largest governor's mansion in the country. In addition to that, it's one of the few that are open for public tours. So that's a little tidbit for you to know. So I thought that would be really interesting. One of the things that in speaking about Springfield is that we get well, just in general, is we do have museum passes. So as you look for things to do, we do have museum passes that we can give to our museums. And if you want to go downtown and visit one of the museums, just let my office know. And whichever one of the museums you want to look to, we definitely have passes that you can utilize for your family to enjoy the day. Other than that, a couple other small things to look at. Greg Hines, I don't know if any of you do read Crain's, but Greg Hines has been a columnist for Crain's for goodness, half a century almost, and he's been a journalist, and I don't know how long he's been at Crain's, but he is retiring, so we wish him well in his retirement. That's just a little snippet of information to pass along your way. A couple other things I have on my other computer here. So I use two computers when I do my update. So we have for August. So I talk about this all the time. I talk about the COGFA, the Commission on Government Finance Accounting. COGFA released a report that showed that our revenues are still pretty good for the fiscal year. They're up. So we look at these, they come out every month. So if anybody wants to read it, COGFA releases it every month. So overall, August were relatively, the increases versus decreases in August were relatively modest. Personal income tax receipts experienced a slight decline of about million or 36 million, while accounting for distribution to the refund fund and the local distributive fund. Corporate income taxes also slowed a little bit, but they were offset by several other state revenue sources. So as I've talked before, the state has several different revenue sources. So we had the largest year-over-year improvement came from the interest on state funds and investments, which grew 23 million thanks to higher interest rates. Insurance taxes bounced back from its low in July with gains of 20 million. In addition, we have inheritance tax receipts, sales tax receipts, and those all account for a growth in our, so it's not just one revenue source, it's a lot of revenue sources together that make up the whole budget. And when we're looking at our revenues, they were up a combined 362 million to start the fiscal year. So indicating that, these 2 years of our fiscal year, which started July 1, has been pretty good, July and August. So definitely, we can't complain about that. And then when we're looking at overall, we're not doing too bad. So when a lot of people are talking about our budget right now, we're not doing bad. We're doing pretty good. Our revenues are up. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed. One of the came across my desk, which I thought was very interesting, similarly related to numbers, is an interesting fun fact. The Bellevue Shoe Manufacturing Company. Now, the Bellevue Shoe Manufacturing Company has been around for really a long time. And to be quite honest, I didn't even realize, a lot of people didn't even realize that the Bellevue Shoe Manufacturing Company has been awarded a $7.8 million contract from the Defense Logistics Agency for temperate weather combat boots. So the boots are going to be supplied to the U.S. Army for the next 2 years. So believe it or not, and this is a point that I think individuals wouldn't know, but it gives you a little bit of context on just a history of Illinois and really our great production history that we have here. Is since World War One, the Bellevue Shoe Manufacturing Company has played a critical role in equipping men and women serving in our nation and our armed forces. I didn't even realize that since World War One. And so the fact that they get this contract to continue to providing combat boots to the U.S. Army I think is really quite, I just think that's really, really great. It's really a great piece of information. And another great company in Illinois that's been here since World War One. So it's the oldest, obviously the oldest manufacturer and the leading manufacturer of boots for the U.S. military. So they began with their first combat boot supply order in World War One, and they have the largest selection of certified boots to the U.S. military and develops an assortment of styles to meet specialized needs. So when we looked at this, and we looked at our partners in Washington. I've talked to this before. So what they need to do is work with us. And so in July, Congresswoman who represents that area introduced a bipartisan amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act, along with Republican Congressman Mike Bost, who served in the Marines, that would require the Department of Defense to examine current military footwear regulations and provide recommendations on improvements to support the footwear needs of the troop. And it supports domestic military grade manufacturing, keeping it in-house. And Bellevue Shoe Manufacturing Company was one of the competing bids that got this contract. So congratulations to our Congress individuals for working hard to keep these manufacturing jobs local, and congratulations to Shoe Manufacturing Company for winning that bid. It was a competitive bid with regards to providing footwear for our men and women in the military. So when people like to complain and talk about, businesses moving out of Illinois, we have a lot of good businesses here in Illinois, and such as the Bellevue Shoe Manufacturing Company that has just opened up. Now, we definitely are looking at other good things that shows that the state is working really, really great with regards to economics. And there's another announcement I had in front of me. I apologize. Talks about another company that's opening up, and I just clicked my I just clicked the wrong button and I just lost it. So that's what happens when I don't. Sometimes, as you know, I print out paper, which is absolute, and then sometimes I try to read off my notes and I click the wrong button. But still looking at businesses, looking at the south and west sides of Chicago, of course, a much different plane than Bellevue, but definitely that they need to look at retail attracts retail, and definitely, so there's a plan that's looking at an idea of a municipally owned or a nonprofit owned grocery store or option. So we have food deserts in many areas. And so they are looking at when a grocery store closes down, what happens is a for-profit grocery store will close down because profitable, they look at the profit margins. And when you look at that in that area, a lot of individuals are obviously disenfranchised. They can't get food, fresh fruit. So they're looking at an idea of creating these kind of local economies with a partnership, a nonprofit partnership for grocery options that looks at setting a new commercial tone so that other realtors, other retailers will come. So local independent food stores aspire, they set up, but the problem is they don't have the purchasing power of the dollar and convenience store chains. So we've done this on the state level. We've looked at small stores being able to combine their purchasing powers like a co-op. And so we're looking at regards to that so that we can provide fresh fruit and just fresh groceries for areas in that. So really that's important. And then the business that I was looking for, I just found it, Cultivated Meat Company. So this is an interesting, I wanted to bring this out. It's a very interesting concept. And they did have a open house. I did not attend. I know several other legislators attended this, but it's an interesting concept. So last November, the FDA completed its first pre-market consultation for a human food made from cultured animal cells. So the food is interesting in that it's pretty much grown in a lab, I believe. They use animal cell culture technology to take living cells from chickens and grow the cells in controlled environments to make a cultured animal food cell. So in a nutshell, lab grown meat or cultivated cell-based meat, it is developed from animal cells and grown, and with the help of nutrients like amino acids, that is what they do, they grow it. So what they describe it as a production company, looks a little bit like a brewery. The people are wandering between these giant vats. So Upside Foods, so Saturday, so this was back in July, but Saturday, July 1st, 2023, marked an epic milestone as Upside Foods made its mark in the history books as the first ever cell-cultivated meat company to sell products in America. And Upside Foods is in Glenview, Illinois. So there's another interesting business. It's a business that cultivates meat, poultry, and seafood. Its first commercial scale production facility is in Glenview, and it received FDA approval. So the new Glenview facility marks a major milestone, like I said, for cultivated meat. And it will support, Illinois' ecosystem and added the state's dominance in the food processing industry. So we worked with the company to invest, and they will bring in a minimum of 75 new jobs to the area. So the facility is a 187 square foot facility. And again, it will produce ground cultivated chicken products. It plans to expand to other species and hold texture formats in the future. Millions of pounds of cultivated meat products will be produced in the facility, with the potential to expand to over 30 million. So this is a step toward creating a more humane, sustainable, resilient food system. They say cultivated meat is an innovation solution to help solve the climate crisis by ensuring that animals aren't harmed while using less water, less land, and emissions during production. So they are, it's one of the world's largest, most advanced commercial cultivated meat facilities. And they have the capacity of up to 100,000 liters of cultivated meat, is said to already being served to diners in California. So there you go. It's just boots and meat, cultivated meat. So good things. I mean, it's all good things. I mean, you can't say it's not. It's a good business. It's a unique business. It's definitely something that we definitely are. I would never thought of back in my day, but technology is amazing, and things are really truly just incredible. Technology is just incredible. I have nothing else to say with regards to that, but just thought that would be some great information with regards to that we have businesses coming in. Normal ebb and flow. Businesses come in, businesses go out, just like individuals move in and move out. That it's nothing that's not abnormal. I mean, that's just what happens. So when individuals talk about how the massive exodus of Illinois, it's far exasperated. Again, we have a GDP, a quarterly GDP, gross domestic product of $1 trillion, and we have a population of around 13 million individuals right now. So definitely, and I say definitely a lot, but definitely good stuff for the state of Illinois. You heard me talk about this before. The state fair had a record attendance for the state fair. These are other things that come across our desk that we look at. So we had more than 700,000 attendees over the 11-day event to make 2023 fair the most highly attended fair since industry standards were enacted. So, I mean, it was incredible. The hardworking staff of the Department of Ag and everybody, and I gotta tell you that the weather was great. I went to the fair one day. The weather was great, good programming, and also they do a lot of good with the community and with regard to agriculture. So numbers with the carnival, record-breaking numbers, 80% increase in sales at Grandstand, popular auto races, but also in 2023, the state fair awarded $89,800 in scholarships awarded to the youth exhibitors, 800 new first-time exhibitors, and 60 charities volunteered over 20,000 service hours. So the state fair is just really, really a great time. If you miss it, try to make the state fair next year. It really is a wonderful family event. definitely what helped as well is some of the investments that we did in the state fair as well in the buildings. So maintenance is really important, and we definitely have to look at keeping up our infrastructure too, our buildings, to make sure that these places are safe and good for our visitors. In the House, so I've talked about this, Representative Lakeisha Collins was appointed to be a senator. Her senator had stepped down, and she now moved from the House to the Senate, with left an open seat in the Illinois House. And that open seat is appointed. It's an appointed position. The individual will be up for the same cycle as all the other House of Representatives individuals, and a portion of the Senate are up next year. But we will welcome to Yolanda Morris. Yolanda Morris is now Representative Morris. She has been appointed to the seat to represent where Senator Lakeisha Collins did represent. So now Representative Morris described herself as a mother, a healthcare worker, an organizer, and she definitely is well received, and looking forward to working with Yolanda as a state representative for the 9th district. She is, like I said, she's a member of the SEIU Healthcare Illinois Union, an organizer. She was a union steward. She worked with caregivers, and she advocated for wages and respect and safety provisions and staffing levels that benefit workers and those who provided care. She's a resident of North Lawndale, and she is community centered. So Representative Lakeisha Collins was appointed to state senator for the 5th district. So now Senator Collins will work with Representative Morris in their district. So as you know, one senator as 2 representatives underneath them. So congratulations to Representative. So other than that, we are again going to be going to Springfield next week to hopefully have our last pension meeting. We've been talking about pensions. You've been reading a little bit in the newspaper with regards to pensions. It's a complicated system, complicated and complex, and the solutions are not easy. But at the end of the day, we definitely need to understand and recognize that something has to be done, and we definitely need to fix our pension system with regards to making sure that the policy is fair for the state and fair for the workers. We have a record number of vacancies, and one of the reasons, and we heard testimony from workers last week, one of the reasons for this vacancy is simply that when individuals look at retirement, our retirement system right now, and they look at going back into the private sector and they can get Social Security, the rule is we are supposed to be equal to or more generous than Social Security. And right now we are not in that category. So nowadays individuals are really in tune, and they're planning for retirement, and they're not looking favorably. We need to look at the fact that our pension system not only is really unfair, and in the words of a person that provided testimony, immoral, and just really the tier 2 system is not ethical. You have individuals in the tier 2 system paying for benefits they won't receive, paying a large amount of their salary, about 12%, into the pension system for greatly reduced benefits. We're seeing a huge gap. We can't hire individuals. So we are looking at, and we are taking our time and really looking at every facet within the state of Illinois. And that's taken up a lot of my time as well. But it's very, very important. And we really should look to get get good policy for the state, good policy for the employees, and then going forward, we can certainly start paying down our bills. As was mentioned in an article just recently, back in the day, Governor Edgar acknowledged that that the laws that he signed were problematic, for lack of a better word, back in the day when Governor Edgar decided to sign into law a pension holiday. The unpaid bill was only, now it's ballooned and 50 billion because of all the states pretty much dereliction of duty. So we're going to be working on that next week. So other than that, I hope everybody is safe. COVID's still out there. I have a friend of mine that just got COVID. Actually, 2 individuals got COVID that I know. So still be safe. Have fun. Have a great rest of the week. And I just want to end with thanking everybody who came to the Kid Expo on Saturday. We had about 700 individuals of attendance. We had the helicopter. We had a food truck, we had free food, and it was a great time by all. So thank you everybody for coming out to our annual Kid. So look to see you next Monday. We will Zoom next Monday with another update. But with that, have a great day. Be careful, be safe, and definitely have a wonderful week. Take care all. Bye.